Hi everybody, Allie here from Zero Waste Bakersfield. Today I wanted to talk to you about how to green up your cleanup. That is to say, how to switch your standard laundry detergent, softener, all that, to a more natural version that you can make at home for pennies on the dollar and with an incredibly limited amount of waste. So I'm going to go through a few different things here today. We're going to talk about laundry detergent. We're going to talk about fabric softener. We're even going to talk about those scent beads that you can put in your laundry to make them smell better, and how you can make all of that stuff at home. Today I'm going to be making some smaller versions of the larger recipes that I normally use, mainly because I already have a ton of this stuff on hand. And then I will be putting the full recipes up on the screen for you, just so you have that information available. So what I'd like to start out with is the chemical-free liquid laundry detergent. This is a super easy thing that you can do. Active ingredients is maybe 5, the rest of it's water. Don't mind my giant bowl. This is my chemical mixing bowl. So the list of ingredients for this one is pretty short. Basically, we need baking soda, we need washing soda, which is different than baking soda, so just make sure you see on the label super washing soda. We'll need Castile soap, we'll need hot water, and the essential oil of your choice. Now, I like to use orange for pretty much all this stuff. 1, because it smells fantastic, it smells clean, and 2, because honestly, sweet orange, which is what it's pretty much always going to be called, is cheap. It's one of the cheaper essential oils. So that brings, the bang for your buck up even higher. So we're going to start by adding a 1/2 cup. Again, I'm doing the smaller versions today, but generally a 1/2 cup of your super washing soda into your bucket or bowl. And then you're just going to top it off with just enough warm tap water. This is, just warm water to kind of cover it up and give it something to melt into. Then you're going to use your spoon, or I like to use a whisk actually, and just kind of combine, just kind of stir it in. Now it is not going to fully dissolve, but you just want to combine it. Okay. Once we've done that, we're going to add our baking soda, also a 1/2 cup of the baking soda. Just add that right on in, and again, we're going to stir to dissolve. And also, again, it's not going to fully dissolve, but just kind of mix that all in there. Now we're going to go ahead and add the rest of the water. Now this recipe calls for 2 gallons of hot water, warm water, just basic tap water. Like I said, since I'm making the smaller version, I'm just going to go ahead and add my 1/2 gallon here. Just going to add that all the way in. And now if you can see, that hasn't done anything to our little clump on the bottom. That's okay. This is where it gets a little tricky, and this is where you might want to use a spoon. Basically, you're just going to do your best to get that all mixed in there. You'll see we've got some clumps. That is just fine. Once we've got that nice and mixed, we're going to add 3/4 of a cup of Castile soap. Now, again, I'm using citrus for this version. You can kind of use whatever one you want. I like to just give it a stir. Castile soap is pretty thin, so you can kind of wash out anything that's remaining in your measuring cup without it getting all, gloopy and weird. Again, we're just going to give that a little stir. Now, if you go crazy with this, like using the whisk, it's going to bubble up. The soap is going to be activated. So we're just going to give it a gentle stir just to get that all mixed in. And then the final step is to add 30 drops for a full batch of whatever essential oil you like to use. Like I said, I'm using orange, and I'm actually just going to do maybe 8 drops. That was more like 12, but that's okay. We're just gonna give that another nice stir. Again, being careful not to make it too sudsy. And from there, we can go ahead and transfer it into the jar or bottle or whatever of your choice. I tend to frequently reuse the laundry detergent bottles that I already have on hand. I just give them a rinse and then, reuse them. Just because it's nice to have the little additional measuring cup that goes with it. And plus, I've already committed to the plastic. I might as well continue to use it until I can't anymore. And there we have it, chemical-free liquid laundry detergent. Now, how you're going to use this is you're going to just add a third cup to your standard wash, just as you normally would. Now, what you might notice, because we do have those solid ingredients, the baking soda and the washing soda, you may notice that you wind up with a clump here at the bottom. That's absolutely okay. All that means is before you use it, just give it a good shake, maybe turn it up and down a couple of times. That's another reason why it's really nice to have the reused bottles, because you can just shake it and you don't have to worry about anything going anywhere. So there we have it, our laundry detergent. All right, so moving right along, we have our scent booster. Now this is so incredibly simple. You can make as much or as little of it as you want. You just kind of have to play it by ear. Standard recipe is 2 cups, but again, you can just do whatever you want. It absolutely works out fine. So this one only has 2 ingredients. We need coarse kosher salt. That's what's in this one.
Warning, I did this wrong. It's not supposed to be kosher salt. It's supposed to be Epsom salt.
And then we need the essential oil of our choice. I'm going to stick with the theme. I'm going to keep doing the orange. So basically all you have to do is add however much kosher salt you want to a bowl. Oh, haven't opened this in a while. All right, so continuing. However much kosher salt you want to a bowl. Then put that out of the way. And then again, all you're going to have to do is take the essential oil of choice and sort of sprinkle it with a decent amount of the essential oil. Now, you don't want to bog it down. You don't want it to get super wet. But now that's all we really need. We're going to give that a decent little shake. I'm going to go back in here with my spoon. Kind of make sure all the clumps are broken up. All right, that looks pretty good. We just want to make sure we don't have any of those large clumps left in there. And now all you're going to do is give it a good sniff. See if it's as strong as you want it to be. Now, obviously, for something like a scent booster, you do want it to smell quite strongly. Now, don't, knock yourself out with a wave of fragrance, but let's just go ahead and give this a sniff and see where we are with it. Okay, I think that's actually right on the money, but I'm going to just do a tiny little bit more. There we go. Just a wee bit more. Never hurts, right? So now while I'm continuing to break this down, all you're going to do is pour maybe a quarter cup, third cup into your washing machine as you're about to do laundry. You can put it on top or on bottom. It really doesn't matter. And then just run your washing machine as normal. Now, as for storage, I like to just store this in a big mason jar, in with all the rest of my stuff. But I'm a mason jar fanatic, so you can store things however you like. I store it in just a standard mason jar. All right, and our final step is our fabric softener. Now, I don't personally use fabric softener very much. I like to use dryer balls. Now, we talked about these before, but this is just a felted wool ball that you throw into your dryer, and it does the job of fluffing everything up without the need for chemicals. Now, if you did want to add a nice smell, you can always add some of your essential oil of choice to the dryer ball itself before you throw it into the wash. You're going to want to have 2+ in your dryer. We actually usually have about 6. This one's just in my room because it got stuck in a sleeve in my laundry, so that happens. But if you do like fabric softener, if you want to use fabric softener, again, totally fine. I've got you covered. So again, I'm going to be making a half batch of this. Normally, if you're making the full batch, you'd want to use a big bowl like the one I used for the detergent. But because I'm using something small, I'm just going to go ahead and stick with my mason jar here. So you're going to start with a cup of baking soda. Again, I'm doing my half cup here, and this is just standard baking soda, nothing fancy. We're gonna put that right on in there. And then we're gonna add 2 cups of hot water. Now, we're gonna have the same issue with this that we had with the detergent, in that it's gonna create a clump. What I like to do if I'm using a jar for this is I can definitely go in there with my spoon and break it up. In fact, I might do that just to get it started. But you can also use one of these wire blender balls. That's good to give it a good shake. But I think in this case, that's breaking up pretty well. My water must have still been nice and warm. Okay, so don't worry about fully dissolving it. Again, it's not gonna fully dissolve. So next we're gonna add our white vinegar. Now this is the reason why you might want a larger container, because we're adding vinegar to baking soda. Anybody who remembers, elementary school science knows what happens when you add vinegar to baking soda. So we're just gonna go slowly in this case so we don't create a giant explosion. And we're gonna add a cup of white vinegar. See, it's fun. It's a little at-home science project. And obviously, if you're using a significantly larger container, you don't have to worry about this. You can just dump it all in. I just don't want to make a mess on my table. All right, so now we've added our white vinegar. Again, we're just going to give it a good stir. It's going to continue to fizz. That's okay. That's a good thing. And once it's mixed to about where I'd like it to be, I'm going to go ahead and add the essential oil of choice. Again, sticking with the theme, sticking with orange. The recipe calls for 30 drops of essential oil. Since I'm doing a half batch, I'm going to do about 15. Again, I feel like that was way more, but that's fine. I'm going to give it another good stir. And there we go. That's our fabric softener. And you're just going to use a 1/4 cup per load. This is, to the best of my experience, acceptable for HE or standard washers. I know some people don't want to run that risk, but I've had no issues with it in an HE washer or in a standard washer. Anytime you're going to use it, just make sure you give it a good little shake. See it get nice and fizzy again, so that's fun. Just make sure you don't have that big clump there at the bottom. And there we go. So again, 1/4 cup per load on that one. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. Now that we've tackled your laundry room, what's the next room in which you'd like to green up your cleanup? Let me know in the comments below, and we'll go ahead and make a specialty video just for you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Have a great day. Bye.